Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Fun Stuff Friday and we have some fun stuff. Okay, but first, before we get into the fun stuff, yesterday I did my Thankful Thursday or my All Things Thursday. And after I finished my video and everything else, and the day went by and the mail came and my husband went and checked the mail, and lo and behold, I have a wonderful, wonderful little gift here. This is a wonderful creation that was sent to me via Amazon Tammy. She created the envelope. So she made the envelope and sealed it with some really pretty washi tape. And she made me a card, and it's so pretty. It's very, very nice. And in the card is all these things. So there's some stickers with ladybugs, of course, the ladybugs. And this is Japanese foods and a Japanese plate and some cutesy, they're just so cute, little stickers and some Australia stickers. And my husband has confiscated one of the Australia stickers for his book. He has with the 3D printing community, when you order anything, they send stickers. So he has confiscated one of the stickers. Excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. I swallowed the wrong way. Had to choke on that and then sneeze. So hopefully another one will not come along. And then we have another ladybug. This one's a green one. And we've got a little creature. I think it's a wombat, but I'm not positive. And then she made these wonderful little tags for to be colored. And this is finished and work in progresses, which is wonderful. And some really pretty little coloring things. This one I do believe is a sticker and a little tree. Looks like the tree of life. And she wrote me a wonderful little note and colored me something. It's so pretty. It's all shiny. I don't know if you can see the shiny, but it's all shiny. It is a Japanese crane, and it's just so pretty with some beautiful irises there. It's just so pretty. I'm going to frame it and put it up on the wall with my clock. It's so nice. Thank you so much, Tammy. I really appreciate it. I was so excited to open it and go through it all. And my husband said, yeah, that's almost like Christmas to you. I was pretty much reacting the same way. It was just so cool. I thank you very much for this. I really do appreciate it. And I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So now I'm throwing the envelope on the floor. There we go. Now I've got the sniffles because I choked on my own spit. So just going to get this back in the envelope. That's always the hard part, getting things back in the envelopes. All right, so it's back in the envelope, all safe and sound. I'm going to put it up there and out of the way. Now, the fun stuff. So, as you know, I got a new set of pencils. And these are called the Hundertwasser, means 100 water in German. And they're so pretty. Now I have gone through and rearranged them into color order because they weren't in color order. It was driving me crazy. So I have gone through and rearranged them. So now they're in color order and they're just so pretty. Now, somebody said that they looked thinner than other pencils, and I have put them up against, say, like the Arteza. So they are a bit thinner than the Arteza, but they're about the same width. Let's see if I can find the An Shan are about the same width, and I think the Prismacolors are about the same width. Hold on 1 second, I'm just going to see if I can find a Prisma. Yeah, the Prismacolors are exactly the same width. So they are a typical size. I had my husband measure the core, and the core is a 3.8 millimeter core. And I think it's just the black of them against the black background here with the tray makes it look a lot thinner than it actually is. There is a color chart that I will post that does give you all the color names matching with the color number that is on the pencils. The pencils do not have the color name on them, but they do have a number, and you can match the number with the color name here. So I will put that information in the community tab. So if you do decide to buy these, you can definitely do so on German Amazon, and I will put that on the community tab, because once you buy them, you can't go back into the description and find that. I couldn't anyway. Um, it may have just been me, but which is very possible. But I couldn't find it again. I had to have somebody who hasn't purchased them send it to me so that I could save it. So there's 3 trays of pencils. We have our whites, our yellows, oranges, reds into our pinks. Also has 2 drawing pencils and a cute little sharpener here. I haven't tried the sharpener, but I will give it a try. The one thing, excuse me, sorry about that. The one thing I do find with those sharpeners that come with colored pencils is they dull very quickly and very easily. With this coming from Germany, I'm hoping that it has a bit better quality than the cheapo little plastic ones that we get in our sets. So the next row, I've got some purples into the blues and the start of the blue greens. And then in this one, we've got our greens into our browns, into our grays, and our blacks. Each tray does come completely out. They are a nice thick foam tray. The suede feel goes all the way through the box. It isn't just the top, it's the entire box, which is really cool. Alright, so obviously you guys want to see these things color, so I think it is time for swatch time. So sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee, and we will swatch these. And of course, I will speed that up for you so it won't take you nearly as long to watch it as it did me to swatch them. They are, of course, a 72 pencil set, so I will, it'll be about 3 minutes. All right, guys, I will be right back. Of course, remember to grab your cup of coffee and sit back and relax and be ready for the swatch. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. So this is the swatch that I did first. This is the colors in number order, and as you can see, they're everywhere. Um, Drove me nuts. I prefer to keep them in number order if I can, if they're in somewhat of a color order, but these aren't even close to somewhat in a color order. So I rearranged them, and this is the swatch that you saw me do. Now, let's see about zooming in a little bit here. Just a little bit. So you can see what I've got going on. So we've got some whites into our yellows, into our light skin tones and peachy colors, into our oranges, into our reds, into our purple reds or red lavender or red violets, into our deep pinks, into our light pinks, into our pink purples, into our purples, and our blue purples, and then into our blues, and then into our aquatic kind of colors, like lake green, turquoise, that sort of thing. And then we have our greens, and then we have our browns and our grays. Now I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera, and hopefully you'll be able to see the yeses and nos a little bit better. So in the top row here, we don't have any yeses at all. They were very smooth, laid down quite nicely. This one, however, did have a bit of a chunk of pigmentation in it. I did try to sharpen it out, and it didn't seem to be there anymore, but I will keep an eye on it. But everything else on this top row laid down very nicely. I was expecting the reds to be a little bit scratchy, but they definitely weren't. They laid down quite nicely, which was great. Same with this second row here, into the pinks and the purples. We didn't have any scratchiness throughout any of those. They laid down very nice and smooth. Into the blues, we had a scratchy one here, and it wasn't really extremely scratchy like chunks rubbing against the paper and digging into the paper. It was more of a dry scratchy, like the pigmentation was way higher in that pencil than the wax level. This one here was good. This one here was also the same way. It wasn't scratchy as per something digging into the paper. It was just really dry, like they had a really high level of pigmentation in it. And then we get down here into these blues where we've got the no scratchiness all the way through until we hit the greens. Now the greens, I have had several even really expensive sets where the greens tend to be quite dry. And once again, the scratchiness that I had is not a dig into your paper kind of scratchy. It's more of a dry pencil scratchy. Definitely not something that I couldn't color with, but it does grit a little bit, feel gritty a little bit on the page. So we've got a couple of dry ones here. Not really scratchy, just dry. And then we've got none here, and then we get like into the lighter ones, we have no scratchiness at all. And then once we get into the deeper ones, we have a little bit of scratch on this one, no scratch on that one. But these three here were all fairly scratchy. This one here was in between. It felt really dry, but it laid down quite smoothly. This one here felt really, really dry, and I did have a little bit of issues with its laying down. This one here was just dry. And then we go into our browns, and we had no problem whatsoever with the browns, and we had no problem whatsoever with the grays into the black. So there are a couple of areas where I have found with a lot of different colored pencil sets that they are going to have that issue. Now, I don't know if it's a higher pigmentation in that pencil. That's what I assume it is a lower wax level and a higher pigmentation level. Now these did come with a bit of a wax, a white waxy coating on the pencils. So I don't know if that was a bit of wax bloom or if that was a coating that the manufacturer put on the pencils. I did sharpen that off. I sharpened them as soon as I got them because I wanted to make sure that they weren't broken in transit, because they, like I said, they came from Germany with no protection in the box whatsoever. Thankfully, this box is created to protect the pencils. So the fact that there was no protection in the shipping box wasn't a big deal because the box itself does protect the pencils quite well. All right, so I have put all the color names on here and everything else, and I will probably redo this swatch just because this is a little bit messier than I like, because I didn't put the color names on right away. I kind of forgot that they had the color name swatch. And then when I went to go find it, I couldn't, so I actually had a friend of mine send me the color name swatch from the website from Germany. So I will be posting that in the community tab so that if you do purchase these and forget to grab that color swatch first, you will still have it available. For some reason, it disappeared after I purchased them. When I went back to the purchase page in Amazon Germany, it just seemed to disappear. I think it's because I made it only tell me things in English. I did a thing with my language settings, and I think that may have messed it up. If you don't play with the language settings, it may give you the swatch chart. If not, then it's here for you if you decide to use it. They are not a budget colored pencil. They are approximately $70 US dollars to purchase these pencils, and then they do have approximately $30 worth of shipping on them. So they're not a budget friendly pencil by any means. That's $100 for 72 pencils. However, they are, if you are at that point in your collection where you want to start collecting from other countries, they are a great pencil to collect from Germany. So we're going to play with them a little bit. And we're going to, first of all, try the sharpener. So let's take a look at this little sharpener here. And I had one pencil that I have quite dulled down. Where is it? I bet you it's that green at the end, because I was trying. I was trying to figure out the scratchiness of it, so I played with it quite a bit. Yes. Okay, so this one here I've dulled down quite a bit, trying to get that scratchy off of it to see if it was a chunk in there. Now I'm going to take my sharpener lid and we're going to sharpen the pencil. So it goes quite nicely. Seems to be quite sharp, and it gets a really good point. I only turned it 2 or 3 times and got a really, 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 really sharp point. So just so that we have a understanding of the feel of these pencils, they are really soft. Like they will they're very what's the right word for it? They hold a point there, but they are easily worn down. So they are quite soft. They remind me a little bit of a mixture of the Prisma and the Arteza together. They have the ability to have that sharp point for a fairly long period of time, but if you do put too much pressure on it, you are going to smush it just like you would a Prisma. I haven't tried to layer them or put them together too much. I did color a little bit on this one with them, and they did layer quite nicely together, but we're going to see that here in just a bit because we are going to color with them. Of course, we are also going to color our hug of the day, and we're going to use these pencils to color the hug of the day. So I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera here, and we're going to tip you forward just a little bit. There we go. And we're going to work on this one here, and I think we're going to do it trying to arrange these pencils on my other desk area because I've got a mess going on over here. We're going to do this one in some pinks and purples. So we're going to grab number 27, which is rose violet, and we're going to grab number 4 and 6. There's number 4, and this one should be number 6. Okay, so we've got some pinks and we've got a rose violet. So now I'm going to sharpen this a little bit just so you can see how the point goes down. Now I have found that with the lighter colors and the reds and the purples and that, they're very, very, very pigmented, but they're not scratchy pigmented. And they're, they lay down just really quickly. Very, very nice color. If I press harder, I can get a really deep coverage very quickly and very, very deep color. Now I'm only putting about in between a light and a medium pressure on this pencil. And as you can see, it's already starting to squish down a little bit. So if you do put too much pressure on these, they will squish, but they're so pretty. So if you're extremely heavy-handed, these may not be the best pencil for you. If you want to learn how not to be heavy-handed, these might be okay for you. However, the Prismas are about the same price coming to the US, maybe a little bit more than these coming from Germany. Are they a comparable replacement for Prismas for people that are in Germany? I would say no, because of course Prismas have more colors, but they are a nice smooth laydown, except for the few greens and deep blues that do feel a little bit harder and a little bit scratchier. Not even scratchy. I can't even say they're scratchy. They don't scratch the paper. They're just really dry is the only word I can really attribute to them. The one that I sharpened with the little sharpener did seem to have a chunk in it, and I was able to color that out. But other than that, they just feel a little bit drier than the rest of them. They feel like they don't have as much wax in them as the rest of the pencils in the set, if that makes sense. And I don't know why. I know that with a lot of different ones, you can get the greens and they're not as waxy or as smooth as the rest of the colors. So there is our deep pink area. Now we're just going to extend from that with number 6 or number 4. Yeah, number 6. And I should have my chart. Where did I put it? I should have my chart out so I can actually see what colors I'm using. So we should actually use number 4. Number 4 seems to be a little bit darker than number 6. Oh, God, I'm an idiot. Oh, goodness. I should have my chart out. I'm coloring on it. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. Um, oh, my goodness. Oh, dear. So I know that this is going to probably come out a little bit earlier than I normally put out my Friday video, but the reason being is I have things I need to get done today for the giveaway, and I'm going to announce that tomorrow and give you a date and all that fun stuff, because yeah, we've got a giveaway to do for the 1,500 subscribers. Again, I want to thank you all very much. I am extremely humbled by your generous participation and patronage. It makes me feel really good that you have decided that you want to watch my channel. And extremely surprised because I didn't think anybody'd want to watch my channel. And to have 1,500 of you that want to watch my channel, that's very, very nice. Okay, so I'm going in now with number 6. I've put in a dark and a light, or a dark and a medium. Now I'm putting in the light. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a peachy color. I just got to locate it. And we're going to use number 28, which is this one here, light salmon. And we're just going to put that in some of the areas that we want the sun to be, the light to be hitting. I think it just matches really well and gives that area just that extra touch of glow. And there we go. Of course, I moved the page to show you what color it was and didn't put it back. Alright, and then we're going to take some yellow and we're going to do the center. And we're going to keep those out. So again with the, so as you can see, I've only done the one flower with it, and it's already taken that point down a little bit to almost a flat point. So like I said, make sure that you don't put too much pressure on these or you will go through the pencil really quick. The colors in the lead do match pretty nicely with the colors on the tip. So it does have a colored end so that you know what color the pencil is. It is a dipped end, so unfortunately you can't see the center to see how well centered they are. There is a couple of them that seem to be a little bit off center, but not horribly, not to a point where you're not going to be able to color with the pencil. Alright, so I'm just going to make sure that I've got that color in there, especially in those shadowy areas, and feathered out so that when I put that pink in, it has something to grab hold of and blend into. Alright, now we're going to use number 4. We're just going to go into that deep area, mix that deeper pink into it. Leaving the lighter area open for the light color. Alright, now we're going to go in with number 6. Just cover that light area. And then we're going to go in with our peach tone, which is salmon, and number 28. And just go into those areas that are going to have that lighting hit it. So we're not doing like the whole thing, we're just doing areas where we want to have it show a little bit more light. Alright, so there is our colors for that one. Now we're going to do some greens. And we're going to grab, let's see, we're going to grab grass green, which is number 52. There we go. And we're going to grab forest green, which is number 17. And number 51, which is a permanent green. Alright, and I think we're going to need to sharpen these. They are all a little bit dulled down. They do sharpen quite well in the hand crank sharpener. It just needs 1 or 2 little cranks and it's done. And I was really surprised on how little this little sharpener actually takes off the pencil. I was expecting it to really shorten the pencils and it didn't, so I was really happy with that. Alright, so we're going to start with our dark area here and put that shadowing in. Now, was this one of the ones that was scratchy? I don't think so. Yes, it was. So sharpening it seems to have eliminated that dryness a little bit. So it may have just been a little bit of debris in the pencil, which is kind of a bummer. But giving it that second sharpen seems to have knocked that out a little bit. So, and basically what it is just a little bit of pigment that did not get dissolved properly in the pencil. And that does happen with these higher pigmentation pencils. But it does seem to be laying down a lot smoother on this picture than it did on the swatch chart, which is great. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have these type of pictures with the swatch chart, so that you can make notes. You can do a little bit of coloring with them and make notes on whether or not there's a change, whether or not they break often, that sort of thing, whether or not they're layering. And you can see the best results already there, ready to go, so that when you do go to use them, you're not struggling with them going, ooh, I don't think these were the best pencils for this, or, this is going to take more layers than these pencils can handle, that sort of thing. It's always good to have a visual of what the pencils can do with the pencil swatch chart, in my opinion. And that's why I created these swatch charts the way they are, because I like having a visual right with the pencils, so I know exactly what those pencils are available for, what colors look good together, that sort of thing. So I'm just going in with a medium green now. This one here is number 17, which is a forest green. And I'm just bringing that dark green out a little bit and brightening it up with a little bit of a darker, lighter green. It's not a really light green, but it's got a little bit more yellow in it, which will brighten up that dark green a little bit. So now I'm going in with grass green, which is number 52, and it does have a lot more yellow in it. Oh, I pressed too hard. Snap. I did a snap. I sharpened that one too sharp and put too much pressure on it. And I'm just blending all these greens together with the grass green, making it all bright and shiny. But they don't feel like an oil-based pencil. They don't say anywhere on them or on the Amazon page whether or not they're an oil or wax based pencil, and of course nobody has asked that question, so I don't know. I assume, and I know what assume means, please don't remind me, um, but with the feel of them and the way that they are laying down, I'm going to say that they feel like a wax based pencil. Of course, this is just my opinion. I have and absolutely no proof of anything that I say. So if you do find out that they are an oil-based pencil, just let me know as kindly as possible, and I will be happy to add that to the description information. All right, so there is our pretty little picture there, our flower. Brain just decided not to know what the heck that was. Now we're going to go in with some reds, so I'm going to grab orange red. No, I'm going to grab red violet. No, I'm going to grab fuchsia. Let's see how many different reds I can say. So I'm going to grab number 39, number 2, and number 44. For the bug. And we're going to use the 39 first in the darker areas. These ones seem to work really well for building up color from dark to light, which is great because that's my preferred way to do it. I have a tendency to build from dark to light, especially on grayscale images. Sometimes it's not possible depending upon the pencils. These pencils do give allowance for that, which is great. So now I am using number 2, which is ruby red. And then I'm going to use number 44, which is orange red. Just going to blend that all together. And there we have our ladybug. And of course, it's off screen, so Now the camera is showing the color to be a little bit different than what is on the page. So of course I will switch over to the main camera before we end and show you the actual colors, which are a little bit different than what you're seeing there. Now I'm going to keep the ruby red out. Maybe I'll keep the orange red. No, I'm going to keep the ruby red out. I'm going to use this yellow. So I'm going to put this one back. And this one back. And we're going to grab this one, I think. Number 7, which is Indian yellow. It's an orange color. I don't know why they call it Indian yellow. And we're going to take our red and we're just going to put some red into the darker areas of the butterfly. And then we're going to take the yellow, the orange, go into that with the orange. And if you find that you've overtaken a color, just go back over it a little bit. I'm using a fairly light hand here because these pencils seem to enjoy that more, if you know what I mean. They seem to put out a really good amount of color even with a light hand. And it's a lot easier to build up color than to tear it down. So if you press too hard, you're going to have to erase, and sometimes these things just don't like to erase. Alright, now we're going to go in with the yellow. And this is number 7, which is yellow. And I'm just going to fill in all the rest of this area. As well as the little spots on the outside here. And as you can see, they blend together very, very nicely. You don't have that hard start and stop line. You can blend that color out and just combine it, which is great. All right. So we've used some greens, we've used some pinks, we've used some reds and yellows, and we're going to use some blues. And then I think we're going to switch on over to the hug. So I'm going to use some purples and blues in here. So I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab number 26. And then I'm going to grab, well, let's work with some of the ones that are scratchy. So we'll grab number 20 and see if we can sharpen that scratchiness out of them. And then we're going to grab number 58 for our light, which should be this one. No, that's 59. There we go. Okay, so we've got a purple, a dark blue, and a light blue. So we're going to start with the purple. No, we're going to start with the dark blue. So I'm going to sharpen this. This one here was quite scratchy. Not even scratchy, like I said, more dry than scratchy. Got it nice and sharp. Just felt something weird in it, but it's just me. And it seems that sharpening it has helped quite a bit. I did sharpen them when I got them, but like I said, sometimes you just find an odd little piece inside of the pencil where it hasn't quite melted down properly, I guess is the right word. Sometimes that just drives me crazy, especially if I can sharpen and sharpen and sharpen and sharpen and it never goes away. But if I'm able to sharpen it out, I don't worry too much if I can sharpen it in 1 or 2 sharpenings. If I find that it's all the way through the core of the pencil, 9 times out of 10 I will send those back. These ones here, because I ordered them from a different country, of course I can't send them back, so I will work with them. But they do have a little bit of debris or undissolved pigment in some of the darker, higher pigmentation pencils. Now I only notice that because I have a thing with my sense of touch, and that it's like nails on a chalkboard. You know, it gives that weird chill down your spine like nails on a chalkboard to me. So that's why I don't particularly enjoy anything that goes scratch, scratch, scratch. And now that I've got this sharpened down, and not a whole lot, just a little bit, and have colored with it a little bit more, I'm finding the scratch to be less than it was when I did the swatch, which is good. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing with the purple. We're going to give it a sharpen. This one here did not have any scratch in it, so let's hope it stays that way. And this is actual purple, is number 26. Now we're just going to go into that dark blue with it. And this doesn't have any scratch at all. It's not even dry. But it is blending quite nicely into that blue. Now I'm extending that out past the blue. But staying in, making sure that I mix this color into the edges of the blue as well. They do blend together very nicely. They do mix color very nice, which is fantastic. Um, I had somebody ask me the other day to compare these with the Phoenix colored pencils that I just got in from China, and they really don't compare. The Phoenix colored pencils feel like an oil-based pencil. They're not as squishy, though they are still very smooth and very soft, if that makes sense. I didn't have as much dryness in the Phoenix pencils as I do in these. And of course, the Phoenix pencils are a larger set and possibly cheaper to receive. So hopefully that has answered their question. If I had to buy them over again, would I buy them over again? Probably not, because they are, like I said, they are quite an expensive set, and they are very much a collector's type of thing. Not something I would purchase for everyday use, so I probably would never need to buy this set again. They are at some point in 2023 or 2022 going to be coming out with a water-based set that they are putting into production, so just keep an eye out for that as well if you purchase these and enjoy them. That's another thing that I wanted to do, is I wanted to do a water and a smudge test on these. So I've got the light blue, and I'm just putting in some light blue, and I don't like that color combination, but too late now. Well, on this one anyway. Of course, we can test its erasability at this point, because I really don't like that. So let's test its erasability. So I'm using my electric eraser here, and it does erase but not cleanly. So it does leave a good stain on the page, but I will hopefully be able to color over that. So we'll take a look and see if that is something that we can color over. Dust all that off. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of this one instead. Yeah, that's better. And I am able to color over that space. And I will go back in and re-add the darker purple, because I erased some of it. Oh, piece of eraser there. Yeah, that's better. That light blue just was not cutting it. So we've used a dark blue and some purple and some fuchsia. I think that was fuchsia. What color was that? Number 27. Red violet. Rose violet. So we're going to take the purple again and redistribute that because I erased it. And as you can see, you can definitely layer up with these colors, which is great. And after I'm done these flowers here, we'll do a water test and a smudge test on the back of the page, because I don't really have enough room on the side of the page to do that. Now I just wanted this purple to be a little bit darker and take out some of that bright blue kind of look there. Alright, now we're going to blend that with, let's see if it blends with the Caran d'Ache blender. I'm going to give it a bit of a sharpen. So they do blend with themselves. I could use the white pencil and blend these very easily, but I want to see how well they do with the Caran d'Ache blender. And they do blend quite nicely with it. And of course, as many of you already know, when you use the Caran d'Ache blender over top of a colored pencil set, whether it's water soluble or not, it actually does make it waterproof. So if you're going to use a wet media on a picture that you know the pencils are not water safe, so they dissolve in water, and you don't want those pencils to dissolve in the water, make sure that you blend it or go over it with the Caran d'Ache blender, and you will get that layer of wax on it from the Caran d'Ache blender that will protect your colored pencil from any water, which is kind of cool. Alright, so it does blend quite nicely with the Caran d'Ache blender. I'm not quite sure about that color combination, but yeah, you do what you gotta do. So I'm just going to go in here and fill this in. Get those buds all filled in here. Take a little bit of this dark blue and just do the edges down here. There we go. Then we're going to take our greens. And we're just going to put in a little bit of dark green here. And then we're going to, typically I do this branch in browns, but I think I'm going to do it in greens. I'm going to turn you so that I can stay in one motion. And they do well with going from light to dark as well. And I want the medium here. Alright, and then we want our yellow. Where did I put the yellow? There it is. Right in front of my eyes. I'll put some yellow in here for the center. There we go. Alright, so there is our little one there. Now we're going to test these on the back. So we're going to use, where is it? We're going to use the dark blue. And now this one here is one of the ones that was scratchy. So it does have little bits of pigment in it. that haven't broke down completely, so it may run like a sieve. I'm not sure. We're going to use this one, which is ruby red. And we're going to use this one, which is the darkest of the greens that I have out. Also a little scratchy. And of course yellow. So we've got our green, blue, red, and yellow colors there. So let's try smudge first. So it doesn't smudge from the yellow. So there is no smudging, which is good. Smudge test passed. Cool. Now let's grab our watercolor brush here. Yellow, I think, moves just a little bit. Green, not at all. Red, a little bit. More as I agitate, the more agitation I put on it, the more it's going to move. And same with the blue. So the first couple of strokes, nothing. The more I agitate it, the more it moves. Now, of course, it doesn't move to a point where you can just blend it, but it does move enough that if you're going to use a water base on it, you may have some issues if you're going to go over it over and over and over again. So water, no. It is not waterproof. Is it completely water soluble to a point where it's watercolor paint? No, not at all. If you go over it once or twice with your water brush, you're not going to end up having too much troubles unless you're going to use a lot of water. So I would definitely suggest that you use the Caran d'Ache blender. As you can see here, this is not moving. No movement, because the Caran d'Ache blender has sealed that color in. A little bit of movement from my printer, but other than that, no movement. So definitely make sure that you use either a sealer or that sort of thing before you use your wet media on top of this pencil. Or put your wet media down first, let it dry, and then use the pencil. Alright, so that is our swatching and our coloring for that. Now I want to do the 100 hugs, the hug of the day. And this one's going to take us a little bit more time, so that's why I'm cutting the swatching a little short so that we can do the 100 hugs. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit, hopefully. Yeah, I'm going to zoom you back out here just so that you can see the picture. Alright, so we've got her dress, so let's start with the pinks. Trying to decide, should we do pinks or yellows? I think we've done quite a bit of pinks in this, so maybe we'll go with yellows. So let us go with yellow. I need this one, I think. Number 11. Maybe this one. Yeah, this one. So this is number 46, which is mid-yellow. So I'm just going to make sure that I go through And these do seem to be laying down quite nicely on the paper, but we will see as we go through how much they remain being really nice. Because this paper is, like I said before, very thin, so getting multiple colors on it is not something that's easy. Though it's not, horrible, you can definitely do it, but I was actually quite surprised how much color I can get onto the page without doing damage to the page with most of the pencils I've used. Now I do have another follower that is doing the color a hug a day with me, and she says that Prismacolors work really well on it. I have not tried the Prismacolors because I have been trying to stick with A for August, and these actually do fit because they are an AM Hunderwasser pencil. So they do fit in my in the hashtag A is for August that Corey from Colorfully Optimistic is doing. So I'm behaving. Yay! I was thinking, oh, I can't do my hug with those. And then I looked at them and went, yeah, I can. Because they are an A. I'm trying to stick with the different hashtags as they come along. Alright. Now I'm trying to figure out. Okay, that's what she's doing. She's sitting in a chair there. So this is all her dress here. Alright, and then we're going to take our yellow and we're going to fill it in. Alrighty. The great thing about these pencils is you don't need to press hard on them to get a really good level of color out of them. Even with the ones that are a little bit scratchy. And I know that's not the right word for them. It's the only description word I can use for them. They're dry, but they're not as smooth as all the rest of the pencils in the set. But they're still quite pigmented. Well, they're higher pigmentation, and the pigment has not completely dissolved in them, I think, which is a bit of a bummer. But they still work, and I will still color with them because they're a pretty pencil. They're pretty, pretty, pretty. And sometimes, you buy a pencil because they're pretty, and you find out that they suck, or you find out that they're good. And sometimes, their only saving grace is that they're pretty. All right. Now I'm going to take a bit of the gray, and I'm going into these shadowy areas of this ruffle. because I'm going to be coloring the ruffle white. So I want to put that gray shadow in. Same with here on her arm. I'm going to be coloring those see-through, so I just want to put a little bit of shadow in the fabric. Alright, now we're going to take our peachy tones, and I think it's this one, number 50. Nope, number 30. 11 is too yellow. So yeah, okay. So we've got our skin tones here, so I need number 28 first. And this one had a little bit of a weird thing in it. So let's give it a sharpen. Alright. And we're just going to put the lightest color down first because I want to be able to build the color. And this paper, with this paper, I don't know if I can with these pencils. So yeah, it's still got that. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a bit of a weird pigmentation on it. So I'm just going to color here until it goes away. So it had a bit of a piece of pigmentation that had not dissolved and has created a bit of a black eye for her. So let's see how well we can erase on this paper. So it erased okay. I don't suggest that. If you can avoid doing that, do so, because it did take off some of the ink. Alright, now we're going to go in with a bit of a darker color, and I'm going to use, no, not that one, a little tiny bit of red. Just in these shadowy areas here. I can also use a brown for that. I just didn't take any out, so now I'm just going to go in with a darker tone and just go out from that shadow. Like that. Now we're going to take that gray. Where did I put it? There it is. And we're going to do her hair. Now, because of the era of these hairstyles, more than likely they're powdered wigs, so the hair in them is white. So I'm just going to use this gray to put in that shadowing area. Now I'm not sure if that is a comb that she has there in her hair. Yeah, I think it is. So I'm also doing the same thing with his wig. I'm putting in that gray. For the shadows. I'm going to do his face and his ear here. Not a lot of skin on him, but then I'm just going to do her hands. And we're going to grab the white. I probably turned that a few too many times, but that's okay. Just coloring that whole wig in white. And as you can see, it uses up that pencil pretty quick. I have a tendency to press harder with white because I can't see it. I know it's there, but I have a tendency to press harder with it. Do these areas here. I need to take the skin tone and finish her arm here and under here because we want that to be see-through. We want that area to be sheer. So down here we just want it to be white. Okay, now his petticoat, his jacket there, is going to be dark blue because of the navel. Unless he could be well, whatever. I'm just going to make him a Navy soldier. He's a soldier of some sort. He could either be a red coat or a blue coat. I do a blue coat. He probably needs to have a red coat, but too late now. Trying to be careful of the oh yeah, he's a red coat. Dang it. Oh well. This is not the color of his his coat is supposed to be, but it's my page, so I don't care. I think the blue goes better with the yellow, so we're going to take this blue. We're going to fill it in. Now this set does not have any metallics or anything like that in it, so I may use the Arteza Gold Metallic for his edges on his jacket. Just because I want it to be gold. And the Arteza Gold is a fairly nice yellow gold, so it does suit it quite nicely. Alright. I think that's it. I think that's all of his jacket. And then we'll take the gold. Alright. Okay. And of course their shirts are always white, so I'm going to color that in white. And then his pants, I'm going to do number 57. Should be this one. Nope. So it's way down here still. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now, usually these are black, but once again, it's my picture, so they can be blue too, and their socks are normally white. So I'm going to use the darker blue here. Alright. Okay, and then we need our gray. And this dark blue, where is it? And then our white, which is in my hand. blend that all together. Like I said, they do blend quite nicely with the white, so. Alright, now we need the black. So we'll take a bit of the gray and we'll just do some highlights on his shoes. Oh, and this is supposed to be under here. Well, luckily it didn't go through. Okay, now we'll take our black. And of course the buckle of the shoe is always gold. And then we'll take our gold, do the buckles. As well as the area here on his pants. And what else? We'll do the chair in gold. And these little doodads in her hair. I think that's just a barrette type thing that's in her hair to make it pretty. And then the back of the chair we're going to do some red. And some, where's, I want a deep color, but this one will work. And then, oh, I missed a spot on her dress. Okay. And for the floor, we're going to do a little bit of brown, and then we will be all done. So we're going to do number 9 under his foot here. Well, we'll do a little bit of black under there on top of it, but or the darker brown, one or the other. And we're just going to do a little bit of this in the wood. There we go. And then we want like this one. Nope. This one. we have it. Oh, and I didn't do his bow, so I'm going to grab this one, I think. Nope. This one for his bow. Alright, there we have it. I'm going to switch you over to the main camera here so you can see the mess I've made. And there we have our hug of the day. So let's mark it. Where did I put my marker pen? I just had it. Oh, there it is. So this one is August 27th. 21, and this is hug number 9. And there is our hug of the day. And of course here is all the hugs that we've done so far. We started off with the initial hug on the 19th. And then we have the owl in the kitty hug. And then we have the little boy hug. The daddy hug. We need daddy hugs. And the panda hug. And the fishy hug. The fishy hug says, words are easy like the wind. Faithful friends are hard to find. Then we have the little girl and the deer. And then we have the lady and the soldier gentleman. And those are our hugs so far. I hope you have enjoyed them, and I will continue doing them until we have all 100 hugs colored. Of course, once again, this is the Hunderwasser colored pencil set, and the colors are quite nice. They do have a couple of dry areas, mostly in the greens, but other than that, they're actually a very nice looking colored pencil. They lay down quite nicely, as you can see with the colors that I've laid down, and they do blend together quite nicely. If you do choose to purchase this set of colored pencils, this is the lineup that you get in the box from 1 to 72. And they do work quite well. They do color very, very nicely. This is a green bug I did with the green that was giving me some scratch issues, and it did quite nicely. So other than the few that do seem to have some dry pigment in them, that is causing a little bit of a scratch on them, or a little bit of color line through them like the peach had, they do seem to work quite nicely. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. Like I said before, these do have the feel of an in-between pencil of a Caran or not a Caran d'Ache, of a Prisma and a Arteza. They are not budget friendly. They are quite expensive for a 72 set of pencils. If I had a choice between these and, say, the square brute Bruners, I would definitely choose the square brute Bruners over these. That being said, they do come in a wonderful collection box. They do have the look and feel of a well collectible pencil. And for somebody that has a lot of pencils and you're going for the collection at this point, these would definitely be something that you would enjoy adding to your international collection. And that's exactly what I bought them for, was to add them to my international collection. I do intend on using them because I do enjoy them, and I don't ever buy anything just to look at it. I always buy them to use them. So I will be using them. I do enjoy them. And like I said, I haven't colored a huge amount with them yet. I've colored the hug of the day and a few little pictures. When I do a full on color with them, I'll be able to give you a better indication of how I feel about them. This is just an initial swatch and a taking a look at the pencils themselves and a first impression type of video. But all in all, that being said, I like them. I do find, like I said, a couple of them to be quite dry and scratchy. Sometimes that can be overlooked, especially if when you sharpen them down a little bit, that dry and scratchy piece goes away. If it continues throughout the entire pencil, then it's a problem with that pigmentation not dissolving properly in that batch of pencils. The next batch may not feel that way. So your batch or your pencils, if you do decide to purchase these, may not have the scratch in them that mine do. This is only because it is something that goes batch by batch. They dump up, all the pigments in one batch, mix it all up, press all those cores, do another batch, mix them all up. So it's a process in the manufacturing that has created this problem, and it isn't it isn't in every single pencil. So don't take my pencils being a little scratchy in the greens as a problem that you may find, or that you're going to find. You may find it, you may not. Okay, so that's enough of my rambling. Thank you all very much for joining me. Of course, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Of course, we will see you tomorrow for the continuation of the Alice in Wonderland picture by Dover Publications. And we'll finish that off for our Saturday Color and Chat at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time in the AM. Other than that, guys, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until tomorrow, bye-bye for now.